Welcome to the Personal Trainer Hustle. Personal Trainer Hustle. If you didn't know, you do now.
Welcome back to the Personal Trainer Hustle podcast, you guys, where I answer your questions around personal training, around being a personal trainer more than anything, and the things that we need to learn, the things that we need to educate ourselves on to be more successful at being a personal trainer. Okay, so we're not going to talk too much about programming and squats and deadlifts, but we are going to talk about getting your name out there and really talking about real situations that we run into when we're personal trainers. So from episode 1 until today, that has been the mission and the topic of Personal Trainer Hustle. It is the work, the hustle of being a personal trainer. So for those of you guys that are new to the pod, sometimes we do episodes where we're answering listener questions, and that's what we're doing today. You guys can send in your questions at personaltrainerhustle.com. You can also pick up what I call a marketing shirt or a marketing hoodie, and that is, you know, something that lets people know that you're a personal trainer. So that's on the website as well. It's a great conversation starter when you're out at the grocery store, when you're out working out, wearing gear that lets people know, hey, I'm a personal trainer. I've had people start conversations with myself, with my trainers, just because you're wearing, you know, what is like a uniform or a marketing tool. So that's on there, but that's just, you know, updates and information. So today we are doing one of those episodes where we're answering a question. And today's question was sent in. I am in LA, California. This question is coming in from Hull, UK. So we have listeners out in the United Kingdom. And today's episode is around a question sent in by listener Oscar. So, Oscar, shout out to you, bro, because, you know, we're going to be getting into your question. And today's question is very good. This is from a new trainer. So Oscar is recently getting his certification and decided, hey, I'm going to send in this question specifically around, you know, being a new trainer, getting certified, and what do I do with my time? So let's jump into Oscar's question today. So Oscar's question reads, good morning, bro. I'm currently getting my certification out of Hull, UK. What would you say would be the best thing for me to do while I'm doing my certification so that when I start as a trainer, I'm ahead of my competition? I love the pod. All the best, bro. So, all the best to you as well. I appreciate it, Oscar. Um, and thank you for listening. I'm sure I might sound a little crazy and weird from being from California to you guys out there in the UK, but hey, all love from everywhere. At the end of the day, we're all doing the same job and we're all going through the same things. So I appreciate the question, and this is a really good question. It's this question lets me know that you want to win. It lets me know that you're trying to be productive with your time. It lets me know that you're aware that you want to win, right? So you're a competitive person. All of these things, I think, are already great cues as to having the right mindset going into this, right? Going into personal training um, is very competitive. Okay. So it's not a job like a lot of other jobs where you just walk in and you can get away with doing a lot, or you can get away with doing a little bit, right? A lot of jobs are very basic and straightforward. The job of a personal trainer is very complicated and it takes a while to build up success in personal training. That is why the podcast exists, because it is not an easy job. It is not an easy thing to succeed in. And the reason for that is because being a personal trainer, whether you work at a company or not, still requires some level of business sense, marketing sense, being competitive, being, you know, a personable individual, and at the same time having a deep understanding of what you're doing. So there's this level of competition where it is not a commodity, right? Somebody having a personal trainer is not something that everybody buys every day. It's not something that you just throw in your Amazon cart, you know, to order online. This is a purchase that for a lot of people is thought out. For a lot of people is an emotional necessary thing, right? They feel like I need to do something about this. And so most people, there's other options when you're a personal trainer, right? Or when people are looking for fitness, as a personal trainer, it's important to be competitive. It's important to be mindful, right? And I'm just saying, because I'm kind of just going based off of the way that you framed the question, Oscar. It's good that you're thinking in a competitive way because it is competitive. Because in personal training, there are too many options for people to do something about their health. So, number one, a lot of people don't care to do anything about their health to begin with. It's a thing that a lot of people don't seem to make an investment. Even if you did a free workout for them, even if you create free apps for them, a lot of people don't take advantage of them. And even those that do, of course, they're going to first opt for the free services, the free applications, the free local boot camps. So by the time somebody makes a purchase for a personal trainer, that is a different type of investment and that is a different type of individual. And a lot of personal trainers don't respect that, right? You have to respect how competitive it is to get someone to make that type of purchase and investment, right? So you have to give them that amount of value. You have to be that good. You have to market yourself that well. You have to be that good at selling and at training, right? Because again, like the personal side too, you don't know what kind of individual is going to call you or message you. And so if you are set in a certain way of thinking or behaving, you're not going to be flexible enough to accommodate them and you're going to lose training sessions, right? I know this is a little bit of a tangent to start. I do have three major points that I'm going to give you, but I'm just talking about mindset right now going into being a trainer. When I became a trainer, I didn't know how to talk the language of my clientele, right? The people that had 500, 600, $700 to spend on a trainer were spending more on a session that I would make in my previous job in the whole day, right? I wasn't the type of person that had 500, $700, $1,000 to invest in a coach. I was just starting off. And so a lot of the things that I was aware of in life, the depth of my conversations, the depth of my knowledge, the depth of my interests, the diversity of my interests, um, it wasn't there. And so they just saw me as kind of a dumb trainer, and I kind of was, and these were people that were professional, they were retired, they were business people, they were professionals, at least successful enough to be able to make this type of investment in their life. And I had to grow into that over years. I had to become more interesting. I had to become more diverse in my thinking, in my capabilities of conversations, topics of conversations, things like that, right? And even then, I'm pretty ignorant to a lot of things, but it's just a mindset, right? So I'm just talking about the beginning of your question, Oscar. Understanding that you want to be ahead of the competition is a great thing to do. Now, here is, I guess, the bad side of it, because everything has a yin and a yang, a pro and a con, right? A left and a right, an up and a down, a positive and a negative. No matter how much you prepare, man, you're still new. No matter how much you try to learn and achieve and do, there is still always going to be an element of being new. I'll give you an example of like a newborn, right? Let's say you have a little 1-year-old baby. No matter how much math, no matter how many books you read, no matter how many trips you take this baby on, the baby, because of their inexperience in life, right? They've been around only for 1 year. No matter how much you travel with that baby, no matter how many languages you speak to that baby, no matter how much math you expose that baby to, the baby is incapable of retaining and understanding the gravity and the amount of information that you're putting out there because they simply have not been around long enough. They have not developed enough. There's just no way that the amount of input that you put into it is going to take. And so for new trainers listening, that happens a lot with you guys too, right? Oh, I'm certified. I should have a job. I should be successful within a year. I'm going to have celebrity clients. I'm going to be charging $200 a session. Whatever that thing is that you're imagining, there is a big learning curve that you're going to be confronted with because, as the old saying goes, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And so you are going to have to balance the idea of you need to be as prepared as possible ahead of time because that's a great thing to do, right? You want to be ahead, you want to win, but at the same time, you're still going to have to learn the hard way. You're still going to have to go through getting your first client. You're still going to have to go through rejections. You're still going to have to go through trying to get a job. You're still going to have to go through criticism on your training, which is good. I need you to remember that the day that somebody criticizes, as long as they're a professional, as long as they're a manager or an experienced trainer, then take the criticism, make the changes because they're trying to help you because they've been there longer. But if you're getting it from somebody who's, below you in the ranking and stuff, don't even worry about that, right? That's another thing we need to learn is who do we take advice from? You sent in a question to me, and whether my answer is perfect or not, at least you know that it's coming from someone who's been doing it for like 13, 14 years. I don't know how long it's been now, but it's been so long. I've succeeded, I've failed, I've built a business, I've built this podcast, right? So like it's coming from a place of, hey, I've been through a lot of things. I'm trying to give you the best answer that I possibly can from that experience. So that's the type of advice you need to be looking for in your job and your training, but you need to be able to take it too. So today's advice is kind of your first test in that. Can you take the advice? So again, I just wanted to talk to you and everyone listening, just kind of what it is like to start getting ready to be a trainer. I hope there was some value there, but let's get into just three major points. I'm going to give you three really easy things that you need to be doing as you get ready. Okay, as you get ready to be a personal trainer, and these are things that some of them I did right away, some of them it took me a little while to learn, but this one right here I did immediately and it has given me a very deep understanding of fitness principles. Okay. And it's something that a lot of trainers don't do. And it's very simple, but I need you to take it seriously, you guys. Number one, as you're getting certified and as you're reading and learning anything, you need to learn to program those ideas into your own fitness programs. Okay. So now let's talk about this word program. A lot of personal trainers, certified or not, new or old, we don't think of fitness, not all of us think of fitness in phases, in programs, in planning. We think of fitness as you show up and you do a workout. And as long as you work your legs and you sweat and you're sore, as long as you work your upper body and you sweat and you're sore, then you did a good workout, right? The reality of being a professional in fitness is that you need to have a deeper wealth of knowledge and understanding of fitness principles, right? Principles like programming, like overcoming plateaus, what that actually means, the different types of strengths that you could be doing, the different speeds that you could be training at, the different recovery times that are accurate, right? Recovery methods that you could be implementing, different angles, planes of motion, different ways to challenge something without overloading it every time, right? A lot of people only think of training as adding weight and intensity to something, but there are so many other elements that you can use to make something challenging that is not load bearing. So again, why am I saying all of these things? Because that's the whole point of your certification. Your certification is not just to be able to get the job, which is what most fitness enthusiast people do. Most trainers that get into personal training, most trainers are getting the certification just because they have to so that they can get a job, so that they have that on their resume, so that they can put the plaque on the wall that says, hey, I am certified to do this. But we miss the big point. The big point is everything that you're going to learn, you're going to encounter at some point in your personal training career, right? And I had to I'm a testament to that, right? I can tell you that I have met older people, younger people, athletic people, muscular people, obese people, injured people, depressed people, excited people, hyperactive people, right? And all of the things that I learned in my certification, at some point I had to go back into that toolbox and bring it out and say, hey, I think this is how we're going to approach your personal situation. When you don't pay attention when you're getting certified, when you're not applying it on your body, right? You're just learning it to pass the test so that you can get a job. What happens is once you get the job, you're not going to be able to grow in your job. You're not going to be able to grow in your career. You're not going to be able to keep clients. You're not going to be able to get referrals because you don't actually have enough tools in the toolbox to continue to help people get better, right? Think of yourself as a mechanic, or think about you bringing in your car to the mechanic, or your bike into the bike shop, or you with a shoulder injury and you go to the doctor or whatever, right? You're feeling a pain and you go and they go, well, have you tried, have you tried putting ice on it? And you're going to go, of course I tried putting ice on it. I tried putting heat on it. I tried resting. I've tried everything. I'm here because I have an issue that I'm not solving, right? Same thing with the car, right? You take the car to the shop and they go, well, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? It's like, dude, what are we talking about here? I'm here because I don't have the tools to fix the issue that I'm encountering, right? And different people encounter issues to different degrees. So as a trainer, you have to already start thinking that way. I am going to run into somebody someday where this information that I'm acquiring in this chapter in the book, in this week in my training, this may come across the table one day. And I need to be more equipped than the next trainer to be able to do that. I was just talking to my trainer, Fabio, yesterday about the importance of this, right? A lot of trainers, I'm going to tell you the conversation that I have with him, that I had with him yesterday, because it's in line with today's question. But I was telling him a lot of trainers get frustrated because, the gym isn't helping them enough, right? The gym isn't giving them enough clients, or the gym has stopped supporting them in some way, or they feel, why does the new trainer get more leads? Why do they get more opportunities? Why did they get that client and I didn't get it and I've been here longer? And what I was telling him was that when you're in a managerial position, or when you're in a position of sales, or being a director, or whatever it is of leadership, it's not the time that you're there isn't as valuable as your abilities to do the job. And so what I was telling him, and what I'm telling you now here, is what happens that you don't even know is happening because you don't have the awareness. I always say this, you don't know what you don't know. And that's the issue. How do you know the things you don't know? There's no way. That's why you need to be curious. That's why you have to be serious about your education, so that you give yourself the best chance. So this is what happens when you don't pay attention in your certification, or when you're not just paying attention to a lot of different elements that we'll get into a little bit later about yourself, about your training, about your personality, about your people skills, right? When you're not paying attention, when you're not self aware, the thing that you don't even realize is, and I gave Fabio this example, I said, let's say tomorrow somebody calls and they want to do bodybuilding, but they had a lower back surgery 6 months ago and they've been cleared, but they still have some swelling, right? When I look at my staff, and I know this person needs the best person for the job, and I have trainer A who only knows how to do cardiovascular training and burpees and mountain climbers and all that. Then I look at trainer B, and trainer B only knows how to go heavy, lift heavy, plyo jumps, powerlifting, snatches, cleans, right? They only know how to do stuff like that. I need to look around and look, and then maybe trainer C, even though trainer C has only been here for a year, trainer C has the ability to do some rehabilitation, do some nutritional supplementation, and also has the ability to be patient and get them to be stronger without injuring them, right? They have enough tools in the toolbox, they have enough awareness, they have enough knowledge. So yeah, trainer A may have been a trainer for 5 years, but all they do is burpees and mountain climbers. Trainer B may have been a trainer for 10 years, but all they do is power lift. Trainer C may only have a year of experience, but they may be more flexible in their training, and they get this client because they have enough of all the different awareness and knowledge to be more versatile. So as a personal trainer, the certification is teaching you to be more knowledgeable, more versatile, more understanding of different concepts that you may need. Not only does it help you be a better trainer, but it helps you be a better salesperson. Let's say somebody comes in and they have a question about, they're scared to get their heart rate up. They're like, I don't know how high my heart rate should be. Well, when you're certified and when you get the right information, you're going to go ahead and give them some information in a moment. Say, hey, your heart rate is based on your age minus da 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 da, right? If you're getting your certification, you're going to learn this, right? And so we have this equation to kind of estimate to the best of our abilities how high your heart rate should be while our workouts. So we're going to monitor it and let it only come up to 150 or 160 or whatever beats per minute. And then we're going to time your recovery rate and see how long it takes you to come back to neutral, right? Or your resting heart rate. And based on that, we're going to develop a program to make sure that that resting heart rate can come, that we can get back to your resting heart rate in a faster and faster time. And that's how you know you're getting healthier and fitter. Now, this isn't a number on the scale. This isn't how big your biceps are getting, but this is a fitness concept that you can use to let people know you are getting fitter because of your heart rate. That's how I'm monitoring it. But if you don't have the knowledge, if you don't have that in your toolbox, all you're going on is the weight on the scale, which doesn't always reflect the changes happening in a body. So again, when you're getting certified, if you want to be better than the competition, I'm giving you the hack right now. I'm telling you what most people do. Most trainers get the certification just to say they got it, but they're not really learning the concept that they're supposed to learn. Right? I've seen it so many times. Trainers that are have a lot of experience, a lot of years training, and they don't understand simple concepts of strengths. They don't understand directions. They don't understand where the muscles are, the origin and insertion of muscles. They don't understand the difference between doing 8 reps and 15 reps. They don't understand because as long as they feel something when they work out, as long as the heart rate is high, and as long as their clients are dropping some pounds, that's enough for them. But what they don't realize is that they're missing on opportunities to get other clients or to open up other avenues or to have other niches that they can take over because they have that extra knowledge, right? They have that extra awareness. So, my tip for you is as you're getting certified, apply it. When you are going over a chapter about heart rate, check your heart rate, do it over and over again. And wrapping it back up to the first word I said about programming, program it, meaning that you have to do it long enough. You have to run a test, right? So you have to do it long enough to see what happens when you apply this over a certain amount of time, right? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and see what kind of changes, what kind of improvements or lack thereof happen when you apply this. Right. I remember talking to Sean. Sean is the manager at Logic now, but he has a bodybuilder type of body. He's very strong, very cut up. But I remember for a while he would not do cardio, and then he went and did a phase of cardio, even though everything in him was like, I don't want to lose my gains. I feel like I'm gonna, all I've heard is if I do too much cardio, I'm gonna lose my muscle. I'm gonna burn up calories that I should be using to gain muscle. Right? I want to be bigger, but because of this principle to be better, he put himself through a program where he did a lot more endurance training. And he found out that he wasn't losing muscle the way he thought. And he was able to get stronger in some lifts because his cardiovascular strength helped him lift longer in the gym, which then allowed him to have more results in the department of muscle building and strength. So until he practiced it, did he not realize? So now he has this knowledge, not just book smart, but life smart, right? And I've done this with myself too. If I read something, if I learn something when I was getting certified, I would put it into my plan and I would practice it so I could figure it out, tweak it, make adjustments so that when I would have a client come in, I had a lot to talk about with them. Every time they brought something up, I would say from personal experience, because when you're new, you're not going to have a lot of client experience. So you have to treat yourself as a client. I know a lot of people, and even myself in the past, may have said, hey, practice on other people. It's better if you practice on yourself at first, because number one, you're not going to have clients, but number two, you want to feel it. You want to understand what's actually happening to your body. Oh, wow. I noticed that my shoulders felt better when I did it this way. You know what? I've seen this video on Instagram, but actually, when I do it, I realize it kind of hurts my neck. Now you know this angle is better than this angle based on what I've experienced. So when somebody says, oh, when I do that, it hurts here, you're going to go, oh, you know what? The alternative is you do it this way, and you have just a wealth of knowledge. So that's my first point, and that's what I need you to start practicing right now is everything you learn in the book, put it into practice in your fitness somehow. It doesn't mean you have to change your goals, but this is part of being a trainer, and this is your homework. How do you make that fit into your plan? Right? You can apply it. I know you can, no matter what it is, more flexibility, more stability, more core strength, higher reps, lower rest times, whatever it is that you're going to implement, test it out, run tests on yourself so that you have a deep, deep, real understanding of what that certification means and not just a piece of paper. Because I'll tell you what, when I hire people, I can tell. I can tell who knows and who just got the certification. And so whoever is going to give you that first opportunity, they're going to know too. And if you're thinking about going into business for yourself from the beginning, then it's even more important because you're not going to have mentors that you would have if you trained at a gym. So my personal advice is always to work at a company to see the competition, to see what's out there, to have mentors, to learn from people in a safer setting. Right, the gym provides you with a lot of opportunities, a lot of leads, a lot of mentorship that you're not going to get if you start on your own. So that's just a side note, something that I think. But either way, you need to be running these tests. Everything that you read about, every chapter that you go through, you have to find a way to implement it into your own routine. It's going to put you light years ahead of most personal trainers. I'm telling you, because I meet them, I see them. I live in LA, California, out here, Santa Monica, everything. I see it all the time. You see half the trainers out there are just going through a workout. There's no thought process behind it, which is okay. It's fine. You can get somewhat successful that way if you have enough charisma, if you have enough marketing, if you have a nice enough body that people feel connected to you, whatever they feel inspired by you. You can get away with a lot. This is not to say, oh, if you don't learn everything from your cert, you're not going to be successful. I'm sure there's trainers out here that have never picked up a training book that have clients. So it's not really about that. It's about giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed. Because I'll tell you what, if you know everything in the textbook, could you still be super fit? Could you still be charismatic? Could you still have a lot of clients? Could you still promote yourself? You could do everything that they've got, but you have extra. You have a deeper bank account to get into that they don't have. So you could still do everything that maybe an uncertified trainer does, or maybe unknowledgeable trainer does. You could do all those things, build a following, build a marketing, look amazing, be inspirational, but still have a certification that allows you to go deeper into that well to be able to compete and exceed beyond what people may be expecting of you. It'll help you get a job. It'll help you keep a job. It'll help you get clients, keep clients, get referrals. It'll help you so much to have a real understanding of fitness. Um, and someday maybe you can talk about it openly and freely like this because you do understand what you're talking about. So that's number one. Practice everything you learn on yourself. Number two, you need to build a habit of studying, reading, listening to subjects that are not fitness related. Okay. Now, this one's a little bit difficult for me to suggest because right now you should be focused entirely on getting your training information, your training knowledge, your fitness knowledge, your coach knowledge. That should be your main thing. But I tell you what, because you said, how do I get ahead? This one, I said some things I implemented right away, some things I implemented later. This one, I implemented late. Okay. So what I did is I got a lot of knowledge in my training and then I got a job and then I tried succeeding at the job and I struggled a lot. Okay. I was scared to show pricing. I was scared to take people's credit cards. I didn't see the value in the training, right? When I sat across somebody and I said, hey, this is $60, $70 for a session. I didn't have the mental strength. I didn't have the confidence and the belief in the product to feel comfortable in that scenario. When I started, I was supposed to talk to strangers in the gym and get them to try a workout with me. I did not like talking to strangers. It made me want to quit because it was a lot of things that I was not ready for because I knew a lot about fitness, but I didn't know about building clients, keeping clients, selling clients, promoting myself, being confident, all these other things. And so that's my second piece of advice for you. If you want to be ahead of the game, read about marketing, read about sales, study marketing and sales. And this is a very difficult one for people to understand, but this is what I actually this was the first thing that I did. Read about your mind and your personal development as a person, right? So what does this mean? I'm not an expert in this. I'm just pointing you in the direction that you need to look into. A lot of people that are unsuccessful in life, it's because we are our own worst enemies, okay? We, as human beings, have not learned the rules of life, the rules of success, the rules of happiness, the rules of joy, the rules of fairness, the rules of success to a certain degree. And so we are our own worst enemies. Because we haven't figured out certain things about life, um, we make a lot of mistakes in our mind, in our heart, our soul, however you want to look at it, right? Just keep it mental if you don't want to get all weird and spiritual about it. But if you have a bad belief system, then no matter how many certifications you get, no matter how hard you work, you're going to sabotage them. So, for example, if let's say you have the belief, because this is a very common belief, so I'll share this one with you. A lot of society grows up thinking that people that are successful are not good people, right? That is a very, very, very common idea amongst people who don't have a lot of money or a lot of anything. So what happens is most of us grow up thinking those rich people are fill in the blank. The way that they got rich is fill in the blank. And so what happens is now you're an adult, now you're trying to be successful at something, but you believe that successful people are not good people. So now you have conflicting ideas because if I told you, would you like to make, six figures a year, right? $100,000 a year being a personal trainer with just, five clients a day, you get the rest of the day off, you can go hang out by the beach, go fishing, go surfing, go whatever. Most people would say, I would love to make $100,000 and have half of my day off. Okay, but you can't do that if you also believe that people that do well at work are evil, conniving, lying type of people. So again, this is simply a mental thing that a lot of people have. And I can give you examples about dating and relationships, about family, about happiness, about anxiety. It's all kind of the same thing. What you think and how you view the world and the expectations that you have of the world, the beliefs that you have about yourself are beginning to shape the things around you. And so a lot of people struggle because they say, Sam, you said get this certification, I got it, and you said work hard, and I am. And I work from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, and I'm working hard. Why isn't it working? Well, it's like maybe because you're kind of an asshole and people don't want to train with an asshole. Maybe you're arrogant. People don't want to train with someone arrogant. Maybe you think you're smarter than everyone. People don't want to be around that. Maybe you don't shower enough. That might be a thing. Maybe you're a liar and you think you're getting away with it, but everybody sees through it. And so you're like, well, why don't people trust me? Because you're lying. Well, no, how do they know I'm lying? Ah, that's the trick. You're the only one that thinks that your lies don't have consequences. But the reality is that the things that are happening are probably happening because of you, not external factors. That's another thing that we have to learn in life, right? Usually, the biggest impact in our personal lives, everything around our lives, I would say is like 90%. And I'm just throwing a number out there, you guys. I'm not studying this, but I'm just saying from what I've seen, 80 to 90% of the things that are happening to us are happening to us because of us, but most of us only focus on the 10 to 20% that is external. Oh, the government passed this law. Therefore, but that's only 10% of the equation. The rest of it is how well equipped you are, how much you've studied, your resilience, your belief system, your positivity, your flexibility, all of these internal factors that make up who you are and how you maneuver the world is going to shape things more than the external factors. Same thing in dating. Somebody may have done something bad. We then take that information and that pain and we spread it into our next situation. And we internalize certain beliefs. I must not be worth it because blank, blank, blank. But that's 10%, that's 20% of the population of the people that you're going to have encounters with. But you've decided to take that small amount and ruin the majority of your time and your relationships and your money and your beliefs and your happiness based on this small amount. So I don't expect you guys to believe or understand what I'm saying because I'm like I said, I'm not a professional in this, and this is one of the hardest things for people to wrap their mind around, right? The hardest thing for humans to do is to be accountable to the life that they've created for themselves. It's very hard. We would rather push it away. We have a protective mechanism it built into our brain that tries to deflect. It tries to make everything about someone else. It's someone else's fault. So, why am I saying all this? Only to let you know that you need to be working on it. I don't know what your situation is, but you may have a bad relationship with family. You may have a bad relationship with money. You may have a bad relationship with authority. That's one that I see all the time. I've seen a lot of trainers throw away opportunities because they have such a terrible relationship with any kind of authority. So when they go to a gym and the manager says, "Hey, I can't have you be late," they have a fit. They have a tantrum. They're going to quit. They want to take the clients. They're going to tell the clients this place is awful. It's evil. The manager is evil, right? They want to always externalize because they have a terrible relationship with any kind of authority. But when you do the work, you realize, oh man, that person was the person that I made out to be a demon, to be an evil person, was actually the only person that tried to share with me a piece of advice that would have helped me. You only see that if you mature enough. Most people will never get there, unfortunately, and they'll live lives that reflect that ignorance. So, why am I saying all this? To say that I don't know how you see the world, right? You listening, Oscar, who sent in the question, right? I don't know what your relationship is to the world, but what I will tell you is that the moment that I finally gave in, right? Because ego is what keeps you from reading books and all these other subjects. Like I said, marketing, sales, and self-development. I'm lumping them all in just to make one big point. Each one of them has their own benefits, their own, unique situations that you need to get into. But here's the thing. The fitness part is one side, the personal side of who you are, how you present, how you believe, how you have a relationship with people in the world and yourself is a lot of it as well. And so if you have any issues that I've mentioned or any that you're dealing with on your own, I don't know, it could be depression, it could be so many things people deal with, right? Because you have on one side, there's like, oh, depression, everybody talks about it. But what about maybe you're overly confident? Maybe that's your issue. You think you're untouchable. You think you're indestructible. That's dangerous too. So, this is a very hard thing to do. That's why just learning about it, reading about it will help place you in a better mental state, and you'll be at least more aware of who you are and your place in the world and what it really takes to succeed in life, right? Not just monetarily, but just as an individual in life. Are we winning at life or are we losing at life? Are we getting closer to the life that we want or are we getting further away from the life that we want? That part has to do with your knowledge of life, right? So this is where it's important to read philosophy, religion, uh, positive thinking, mental development stuff, relationship books, all of these things, right? Um, and again, I leave that up to you. You have to have enough awareness, discernment, and humility to self-reflect and say, "Hey, you know what? I think I'm not very good at talking to people. I feel uncomfortable. I feel anxious. I feel like blah blah blah." Okay, well then pick up some books on how to talk to people, how to have better conversations, how to make friends, right? So whatever that topic is, begin to look into it, right? The very first book that I ever read in this subject was called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's a very old book, very basic, but it was the first book that told me that my world is being created by my beliefs of the world. And what I think is going to change the way I behave. And therefore, my thoughts become actions and my actions become things. The things that I see and feel and experience in the world are a reflection of the things that I did, which are a reflection of the things that I first had to believe. And so, as it's very simple, but when you don't think about it, you go through life kind of like a zombie, just repeating the same thing over and over again without understanding how things are coming along in my world. So that's one book that I read, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've talked about it a million times. It's an old book. There's other books like it now. The Magic of Positive Thinking was another thing, right? Why do I have doubt? I had to read about, okay, maybe if I understand it better, I won't have so many doubts about what I'm doing. And then I went on to reading about sales and how to present something and how to ask better questions to understand what somebody wants to buy. And then I went on to learn about marketing and what is it that people feel? What are the pain points? What are the things that they have to hear in order to have a reaction to my advertisement? Right. So all of these things are learnable things. And so if you want to be the best at your craft, whether it's a personal trainer or anything else, being better at controlling your mind and your feelings and your actions and having skills that are very important like sales and marketing, right? If you can market anything. If you can sell anything. So you'll always have a job. You'll always be able to promote yourself. You'll always be able to build your clients. You'll always be able to get a job because you have the skills that are required to get those things. And that's outside of training. Now you're a personal trainer who knows how to market and sell and get a job and grow a job and get referrals and keep a positive mindset and set goals and achieve goals and have discipline and have humility and have all these other attributes. Well, now your question was, how do I get ahead of the game? I'm letting you know how to do it. You have to be not just great at training, but great at life. And that's an interesting, I guess, that's like an interesting path to take in life. But I can tell you that it'll be a lot more fulfilling if you do, and you'll be able to pinpoint what you have to do in order to win a lot easier than most people who don't think about it. They just think life is happening to them. They're helpless. The government's out to get them. The opposing political side is out to get them. And they don't realize really most of the answers are just the way that you behave and think and information that you have wrong. And so you have to try to get the right information, and that is going to be an adventure all on its own. I don't have the answers because you are you and you have your belief systems. You have where you come from. You have, maybe you had parents, maybe you didn't. Maybe you had money, maybe you didn't. Maybe you had values, maybe you didn't. Maybe you had a terrible experience that nobody else in your circle has. All those things shape you. So part of the formula is, how do I begin to get better around beliefs that I may have or situations that I may have encountered that are not going to be beneficial to me long term. And working through that is a whole like education. It's a whole certification right there just on figuring those things out. So read about self-development, personal development, mindset, sales, marketing, anything you can get your hands on, philosophy, religion, all of these things are going to help you. But be careful to not fall into just one thing, because then it gets weird. If you only read philosophy, if you only read religion, if you only read sales, then again, you're falling into this limited knowledge base, your limited points of view, because you're only letting one idea dictate how you behave, right? I've met people that are just salespeople, and you can't have a real conversation with them because all they are is salespeople. All they are is trying to have the conversation where they close deals and make money. There's no depth. There's no understanding. They're not thinking about how you feel. They're not thinking about life. They're not thinking about anything other than just being a great salesperson. You can think Wolf of Wall Street, right? That story. That's what happens when you don't have the other elements that also make you a good employee, a good business person, and just an individual in life. So and again, nobody gets it perfect, but that is what we're trying to achieve, is a constant growth in our person. As time goes on, right? You're going to be alive anyway. You might as well be a better version of yourself every year. Um, Number three, once you've done all that, once you're getting close, I would say start to stop by local gyms. Okay. And just walk in and let them know that you're going to get certified. You're in the middle of certification and you just wanted to get some information on how their gym works, right? Or how their personal training department works. Okay. People will generally answer your question as long as you keep it short to like 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes max, and you say, "Hey, I'm not certified yet." Be honest with them. Say, "But I'm really, I'm about to be, and I'm looking to see like opportunities that are out there. How does your gym work? What are the hours? What are the requirements? What do you look for? Is there anything that you would need from a new trainer, or anything that you would want if I was to apply here? You can learn about how much they charge, how much they pay, just whatever. Start to educate yourself on the different structures that are out there, right? There's group fitness, there's strength gyms, there's CrossFit gyms, there's general gym membership gyms, which is where a lot of trainers get their start. I like getting the start there because that's the start I got. You learn a lot when you work at a membership gym where people go in. You have to get your own clients, you have to compete with the other trainers, but you also have to work together with the other trainers. So, my tip number three would be, start talking to local gyms, start talking to local managers, start talking to local personal trainers about their experiences, about how much they charge, about how they structure their packages, about their payment structure, about their hours. Whatever information you can get, it's going to help you better understand where you want to start and where you fit in. Okay. So, because this is a big mistake that a lot of trainers make, I'm going to give you one story of a real story that happened to me. Okay. When I graduated from my personal training certification, I graduated with a class of like, I don't know, 12 people, maybe 15. I don't remember, but it was less than 15 people. It was a small class, but we were going to get certified as personal trainers, 6-month course. Every day we would go in there, we would do theory, we would do practical, we would practice on each other. We had community. It was great. And we all graduated together. It was wonderful. And I didn't have the self belief to do this, or else I would have done the same thing. But two or three of the trainers that I was good friends with, they all applied to Equinox right away. Now, Equinox, some people say Equinox, but it's one of the big gyms out here that are known for, being more of a luxury brand, high priced brand, high priced training. And so a lot of trainers are drawn to that because to have that shirt represents some level of status, right? Just like anything, just like wearing a certain type of shoe, a certain type of brand. It's a branding thing, right? So this gym is like one of the higher end brands, higher end gyms out here in LA. And they were excited because they were like, you're going to make more money there, right? So they thought, it's a great brand. I'm going to make more money. It means that I'm a great trainer if I get an opportunity there. So I'm going to apply there. I took a while to apply there. I applied at gyms that I thought I feel more comfortable in, right? I didn't think a gym like that would be the best fit for me, but eventually I applied because they applied and they got jobs. I did not get a job there. But what happened is, at least two that I remember, I think it was three people that applied, but two of them ended up quitting training altogether, you guys. Okay. Because what they thought they were getting into was not what they were ready for, was not what they were what they expected, what that gym expected of them. They were not ready for at that level. So even though it all looked shiny, it all looked fun, it all looked like, wow, this is an amazing experience. What it did is it crushed their dreams of being a personal trainer because of the hours they had to work, because of the prices they had to charge for training, because of the type of clientele and what that clientele expected, because of the turnaround rate of the trainers. All of the members at those gyms knew that trainers come and go, so they wouldn't give them an opportunity. So they felt so pressured, so uncomfortable. They weren't making money, they weren't selling enough clients. And when I say they weren't making money, I'm not blaming the gym. I'm just saying they weren't experienced enough to know how to sell, how to market themselves, right? I never blame the gyms. It's on you, like I said, right? The 10% to 90%, the 80% to 20%, right? Most of it falls on you, not the situation that you're in. So what I'm saying is you need to start kind of doing your research around the types of gym, the types of training programs, because what you think you may want may be something that you don't actually want long term, that might kind of put a bad taste in your mouth around training. Because a lot of gyms, even though they seem great on the outside, what it takes to be successful there is very difficult. Sometimes there's not enough time to learn everything you're going to learn because the gym demands a lot from you, right? And again, why I'm saying you need to talk to different people is because different gyms value different things, right? Something that people don't realize that we value at my gym is actually like the person and the character of the individual, right? The energy that they bring into the gym, the positivity or negativity that they bring into the gym. It's not just the training. And so what happens is when people come work with us, they think, well, I'm a good trainer. And it's like, yeah, you're a good trainer, but the culture does not fit with the way that you behave, the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you think is not what the clients hear, and what the environment, the ownership, the trainers, it's not in line with who you are and who we are. And sometimes it's just a culture fit. So I'm letting you know now that you should do some research to see what works best for you, and what is going to, fit with who you are the best and your strengths, and help you in your weak areas. And so again, it's just about knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, because that's another thing. A lot of people don't walk into situations understanding that they have a weakness. We all have a weakness. And so the fact that a lot of people can't answer that or don't go into situations even thinking that, for me, that lets you know a lot of like the amount of mental and emotional work that needs to be done with that individual, because everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses. So you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses as you become a trainer. Where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel strong? Where do I feel weak? And now here's the thing. You don't want to just get a job where it's only good for your strengths. You also want to figure out where you can work on some of your weaknesses, right? Are there trainers there, or is their program there going to help you develop in certain areas, where maybe you're not as strong? Maybe talking to people, you can develop that, right? If you go into a fast-paced environment, you're not going to have time to develop your interpersonal skills because you're going to need them from day one. And so again, that might prove difficult. At the same time, you can go into an environment where you don't have to do any selling at all, but usually you're not going to acquire that ability over time, which you may need in the future as your career grows. So there's a lot of different elements to it. I don't know what the right answer is for you. I don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are. I don't know what your situation is, what your personal goals are, what your personal abilities are. But what I would say is, as you start to wrap up this certification, you should have met with a couple of gyms and just asked them how they work. Now, I'm going to tell you this because if it happened at my gym, I would not like it. Do not take up my time. Do not take up my manager's time. Do not take up my trainer's time. Okay. When you do this, be humble, be fast, be precise, be grateful and thankful for the time that they're giving you. Okay. There's nothing more annoying than somebody that just wants to talk and ask questions and get information without respecting that I may have appointments, I may be hungry, I may be sleepy, I may be tired, my wife may be at home waiting for me, I may have made a doctor's appointment, and you're just sitting here thinking that you can sit there and talk to me for 10, 15, 20 minutes just taking without giving me anything in return. So that's why I said keep it quick, keep it straightforward, be grateful and leave, and thank whoever you talk to. If you do stop by, be humble and be grateful and be thankful to them, and let them know, I'm sorry. These are words that you should get used to saying to people. Sorry to take up your time. I'm so grateful for the information. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, right? Be thankful, be grateful, be humble, because nobody has to do this for you. So if you walk into a gym or you call and you say, "Hey, I'm a new trainer, I'm recently certified. I just want to know, what's the structure here? I'm really new. I'm not sure how this works. Just any information would help." And they're going to give you one or two little answers. Be grateful for that, okay? And move on. You can't just sit there and talk to them all day, okay? So be careful with this piece of advice. You can do research online as well. Maybe you can talk to trainers instead of the managers, right? Like, maybe you can try a week of membership at that gym if you think that maybe you want to work there. Maybe you get a 1 week pass. Maybe you actually invest in a membership. I don't know what the right answer is here. All I'm saying is try to find a way to become knowledgeable in the different opportunities in your neighborhood, so that you are better equipped to be ready, just so that you can be ready for what's to come. Now, like I said in the very beginning of this, when I gave you the example of the 1-year-old, right? No matter how much you try to teach and to learn and to show, there's only so much that someone can, retain and understand given the amount of time that they have in this area, right? So if you're a new trainer, if you just got certified, no matter how much you study, no matter how much you read, no matter how much you do research on the different gyms and opportunities, I need you to understand that nothing really starts until you start doing the job. Until you get your first job, that's when you're going to realize your actual weaknesses and your strengths. That's where you're going to realize the relationship that you have with money, the relationship you have with people, the relationship you have with yourself. That's when you're going to realize the realities of what it takes to be successful, sell a training package, renew a training package, get people results, all that. No matter how much you try to get ahead of it, there's only so much you can do to move that along, right? Another example, that people say, it's like it takes 9 months to have a baby, right? Or it takes X amount of time to bake a cake. Trying to do it faster is not going to make it happen faster. It's just going to make the process begin to fall apart, right? So it's not to say that you can't do it faster, but some things you actually want them to take their time, right? So in those examples, right, as much as you want to be able to bake a cake in 5 minutes, the reality is if you try to do it, you're going to burn it and you're not going to have any cake, and you're not going to learn what it takes. So it's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in your training career. Getting your cert takes as long as it takes, no matter how much you want to study, how fast you want to go. Learning about your mental and emotional understanding, knowledge, awareness, until you start to live it, you won't notice everything that we talked about today until you don't start working with real people, right? Because up until you start working with real people, with real emotions, real feelings, real comments, real suggestions, real opinions, real injuries, real pain, real discomforts, when all of it starts to happen for real, that's the feedback that you get to understand where you need to improve and learn and get ahead. So up until now, it's all kind of theoretical, right? It's just theory. That's why I said try to practice it on yourself, try to read those books because you want to be as prepared as possible. But no matter how prepared you try to get, at the end of the day, be patient with yourself. There's just no way you're going to be ready, no matter how ready you get. But you also need to try to be as ready as possible, right? And that's, again, something that I constantly go back to is just our ability to be able to hold two opposing ideas is so important in your mental development and your life skills, right? Having life skills, having wisdom, having knowledge is also your ability to be able to hold these two opposing ideas. On one end, you should be as prepared as possible, but on the other end, no matter how prepared you are, you have to understand you won't be prepared enough. But both of these things are true. So, I'll leave you with that. Be as prepared as possible. Maybe play back the episode, go back one, two, three, make sure that you're reading and applying and practicing the stuff in your certification outside of your certification. And this is going to put you years ahead of the competition. That I can promise you because I've seen many trainers, I've hired many trainers that, no matter how much you tell them to study certain subjects, they think that they're smarter than the advice. So if you can even do that, take advice and really apply it and not ask, how could I do this differently or better, or maybe I can skip this step. Those are the type of people that are destined to fuck things up because whoever is giving you the advice, they've already made the mistake, right? I already made the mistake of taking too long to read certain books. So I'm telling you, hey, if you can do it before I did it, you'll be ahead of the game, right? So, um, that's my advice for the day. That's all I've got on today's topic. Great, great question. Shout out. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to the entire world. You guys listen from all sorts of places. I know so far I've talked to a lot of you guys in the States. But when I look online, it gives me, some feedback. It gives me information and data on where you guys are at. So I know we have some folks in Australia as well. Um, so shout out to everybody listening. Send in your questions if you want to say where you're from. That's always fun, so that I can know where this is coming from. If you guys have your own questions, maybe as you're listening, there's something that came up in your mind right now. You're like, oh man, as he was talking about that, that reminded me of something. Right now, just click on the link or go to personaltrainerhustle.com. Send in your question before you forget it. We'll turn it into an episode. We'll keep going. For those of you guys just finding the podcast right now, not all the episodes are question episodes. I've just gotten a lot more questions recently, which I love. I'm not complaining, but a lot of the episodes have just recently been a lot of question and answer because you guys are sending in your questions. So when we're not doing a Q&A, I like to just cover a topic that I think is important for personal trainers to understand and know. Sometimes we review old ideas and topics. I know we need to go back and maybe review sales a little bit more now that we're this far into the pod. And then every once in a while, I sit down with a trainer who's had success. I sit down with one of my friends, local trainers here, local friends that I have. Shout out to Sledge, Javon. I want to get back on with him. He's one of my closest friends, best friends, but also a really great personal trainer. He's had a lot of success in training, boot camp, one-on-one. I think he's going to be doing a lot of big things in fitness. I can see it because he's got it. He's working it all. So maybe we'll talk to him soon. I'm going to reach out to him and see if he wants to get on here and do an episode, share some of his knowledge. Um, you know, that's pretty much it. There's a couple other things. I know somebody recently sent a message saying, I want to share my story. I'll reach back to you. Maybe we'll talk and see what that story is exactly. So Maybe we'll extend that too. Some of you guys listening that have already achieved some level of success, we can learn from you guys as well. I haven't done a listener Q&A where we actually sit down with a listener in a while as well. So there's a lot of different things that we do with the podcast. But at the end of the day, the message is the same, you guys. Every time you guys tune in to Personal Trainer Hustle, we're going to be talking about the business side, the career side of personal training. So if you guys are looking to build your career, this is a great podcast to follow. You guys can hit a review so that we continue to rank higher and higher. We continue to rank more and more. You can share it with your personal trainer buddies, um, especially somebody that you're trying to grow with, succeed with when you guys start. For me, that was really important. I always had what I call like a running mate, right? Somebody that I can lean on, support with, share ideas with, right? Another trainer that wanted to succeed as well, that was about where I was. And we would share ideas, we would share books, we would sit down and talk about our clients and what I did with my clients and stuff like that. So if you have somebody like that in your circle, you guys could also share the podcast, listen to the podcast, share ideas based on what we talk about here, and maybe, come up with new questions to send in, or just figure out ways to apply it and help each other out by connecting with the podcast as well. So you guys can share the pod with your trainer friends as well. Just the ones you like that you want to see succeed. Don't tell anyone else. Shh, shh, shh. Obviously, I'm kidding. Share it with whoever you want. But at the end of the day, the important thing is that you guys apply the information that is suitable for where you are personally, right? So whatever that one bit, two bits, pieces of information are that are the ones that you needed, just take that and then apply that. More than anything, apply it, apply it, apply it. You don't want to be someone who just listens to podcasts for entertainment all the time, but doesn't actually do anything. You want to stop, take notes, make a note. I'm going to try this next time. I'm going to try this tomorrow. I'm going to make this list. I'm going to apply this little bit of information because I need that. I'm going to look up that book. I'm going to do something based on what I learned today. That's the only way to make real change. Okay. So apply something today. Keep listening, Personal Trainer Hustle. Leave a 5-star review if you do get some benefit from the podcast. I always appreciate that. We don't have ads. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have anything. This podcast is just a passion project for me to give back. I was able to figure these things out for myself, and now I'm just helping you guys as a way to give back some information, things that maybe I wish I would have learned earlier in my career. So that's it. My name's Sam Lopez, the host of Personal Trainer Hustle, owner of Logic Fitness in Culver City, and we will talk again soon. Bye.